Hey, Service Advisor Nation. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the AutoFix Advisor Cast. I hope everyone is staying healthy and taking care of one another as always and keeping those bays full. Earlier this week, I had the distinct pleasure of joining a webinar with Arena from Empowered Advisor and Kim Walker from Shop Marketing Pros. And I was asked to join that webinar to discuss service advisor stuff. And the topic was how to create raving fans at the front counter. And a lot of the conversation really boiled down to, and Raina put it in very good words, service advisors, kind of going back to basics. And I kind of thought about that after the episode. I know a lot of times when we go to coaching events, class events, things like that, we're always talking about going back to service advisor basics. And it's not a bad thing. It's a reset, right? We need to get back to basics and the simple way of doing things, which again, transparency with our clients, how we approach estimates, how we are, thinking about what we're going to say to the client before we pick up the phone and start talking about that estimate, right? Get the game plan in our head. Raina had a very good thought about, talking about the, finding out from the client the life cycle of the vehicle, right? Knowing what the life cycle of the vehicle is going to be for that client, which I really never thought of before. So, being around people that are smarter than me is a good thing. So, when she said that, find out, the life cycle of the vehicle, I kind of was like, what do you mean? She was saying that, find out from the client when they make the appointment or they come in to drop off the vehicle, like what does that vehicle mean to them? Right. And how long do they plan on keeping it? Because that's going to determine how you basically, project or deliver the estimate to them, right? If they're just, going to have the vehicle, if it's just a, back and forth to work car or, a daily or not a daily driver, things like that, you might approach the estimate differently rather than telling them about all these different things, just kind of format it in a way that suits the lifestyle or the lifespan, the life cycle of the vehicle for them. But again, really we're all talking about getting back to service advisor basics. And kind of this episode for me is going to be the opposite of that. And a quote that I saw the other day that I thought kind of crank started this episode for me, if you would. It says, don't watch the clock, do what it does, keep going. Again, don't watch the clock, do what it does, keep going. So, one thing I thought about talking about today that was going to be really important was, I would like to throw out a service advisor challenge for the next 2 weeks, actually starting on Monday, August 4th, for a full 2 weeks. Whether it's if you work 4-day work week, 40 hours and 4 days, work week, if you do five business days, 6 business days, 7 business days. Yes, some shops are open 7 days a week. Why? Because they're hungry and they want to serve better for their clients. So this episode is, again, I'd like to talk about a service advisor challenge. So here's what I've got for you guys. Again, to kind of shake it up a little bit, get things into game changing mode. Really, I want to have the service advisors out there basically look at this and listen to this as it's time to level up, right? So for the next 2 weeks, again, starting on August 4th, when that phone rings, if it's a service that you offer and a vehicle that you work on, the answer is yes. And yes means taking the vehicle in same day for drop off. No hesitation, no excuses, just pure action and focus. Holy crap, how are we going to do that? Well, I've got a strategy for you guys. But again, I really want to, we got to level up, right? We got to level up. So I know what you're thinking. Whoa, that sounds like a lot. But hear me out. So we've all gotten a little too comfortable. Maybe we've fallen into a routine, the one where, we say no because we're not sure if the shop can handle it. Maybe we're just a little too tired of squeezing those extra hours. But if we want to truly level up, we've got to challenge ourselves. So let's do this. Let's kick things into high gear and make the next 2 weeks, we'll call it a victory lap, right? Efficiency, strategy, and growth. Let's do this. So here's where we start. The power of saying yes, right? The motivation and changing the mindset, right? The challenge of changing our mindset. So think about this, right? Growth doesn't happen in our comfort zone. The best way to grow your business and yourself is to push the boundaries. When you say yes, you open up possibilities. Yes to the service you offer. Yes to the customer who's counting on you. Yes to the opportunity to make things happen and set the tone for future growth. Tony Robbins, awesome motivational speaker, says the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. Again, the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. So when you decide to say yes, you break the chains of complacency, right? And you unlock the potential for future greatness. So again, Service Advisor Nation, for the next 2 weeks, starting on Monday, August 4th, when that phone rings, if it's a service that you offer, if it's a vehicle that you work on, the answer is yes, right? So here's the second part of it, right? The strategy behind the challenge. How do we manage and execute this challenge? Not just, okay, episode's over, go do it. So, all right, you've got your challenge. The phone rings, the answer is yes, and you're taking that car in that day. But here's the key: we need to strategize this, because simply saying yes just isn't enough. We have to squeeze, again, I say squeeze every ounce of efficiency out of the shop that you're working at, your organization, your process, your teamwork. It all needs to be on point. And here's how we approach it, and approach it together, right? First thing, we're going to prioritize the day. Start the morning by identifying the key tasks that we need or you need to tackle. What cars are already booked? What can we rearrange to make room for drop offs that day, right? That's number one. Number two, clear communication. Communicate with your team to know that this is a high priority challenge. Communication is key to staying on top of things, from the technician to the parts department and the front desk. And again, as service advisors, if you're cradle to grave service advisors, you're kind of sprinkled in, mixed into a little bit of all of that. But again, communicate with the team. And this is why, again, I'm recommending we start this challenge on August 4th, Monday, August 4th, because we still have tomorrow, Friday. We've got the weekend to talk about it, right? Think about it, get mentally prepared. Number three, we need to optimize time management. If the customer is asking for a same day service and it's a realistic ask, we need to streamline everything. Diagnostics, parts ordering, labor. If we don't have the parts, is there a local supplier who can get them to us quickly? Again, not going for perfection here. I'm going for shaking it up. We need to level up, get out of that complacency zone, right? Number four, we need to squeeze every bit of efficiency, maximize every minute. That means quick turnarounds with quality work, focused work, and no wasted time on unnecessary distractions. So, again, squeeze every bit of efficiency, maximize every minute. That means quick turnarounds with quality work, focused work, and no wasted time on unnecessary distractions. Remember, this is all about staying focused and executing with precision. All right. That's how we need to think about this. It's like a sports team on a game day, right? Everyone needs to be in sync, giving their best effort to win. So really, it's not just us in the front end. This is a company thing, but as a service advisor, right? We're in that quarterback position. We really need to emphasize to the team, look, let's shake it up. Let's do this. Let's figure it out. Let's strategize. Let's make this happen. So if we just take this on as a service advisor and don't communicate with the shop, it's not going to work. The shop's going to go, hey, what's going on here? Do we need to do a random drug test on you? So again, right, big communication. Next section, right, handling the pressure, because there's going to be pressure. And again, that's where we expand. That's where we grow. That's where we get out of our comfort zone. I mean, could you imagine realistically? Yeah, every time that phone rings, it's a service that you offer, it's a vehicle that you work on, you're saying, yeah, drop it off. Yes, drop it off. Yes, drop it off. Yes, drop it off. I know it sounds overwhelming, but I mean, choke it out. It's possible. Just open up your mind, go to a different mindset, right? But handling the pressure, let's talk about pressure for a second. If you're going to take on this challenge, you're going to feel it. There's no doubt about it. Pressure to perform, pressure to deliver, and to get that car in and out quickly and efficiently. But guess what? Pressure is a sign of growth. And Grant Cardone, another motivational speaker, says that comfort is a slow death. Again, comfort is a slow death. You can't grow if you're always sitting in your comfort zone. And I'm not calling out service advisors. I'm not saying you're not doing a good job. I'm not saying that you are complacent. What I'm saying is I doubt somebody has tried to energize you to talk to your team to put a challenge on like this for 2 weeks. When I originally went into this episode, I was going to ask you guys for a month. I'm not trying to kill anybody, but yeah, I'm energized about this. I mean, this is totally doable. Shake things up, level up again. I thought about it. I think a month, kind of going, we'll call it foot on the gas, right? Foot to the, throttle down for a month is going to be a little excessive, but 2 weeks, yeah, we can do 2 weeks, definitely. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, far from it, but you're going to have to push yourself and your team respectfully, professionally. But again, you got to be the Kickstarter for this. You got to be the match that ignites this, right? You're the gasoline on the fire for this challenge. You're getting the team amped up. We can do this. Let's make it happen, right? But when you come through that pressure, when you see the success and the impact of your hard work and a team's hard work, it's going to feel like a win. It's not going to feel like a win. It's going to be a win. And that's energy, what we need for the shop to level up. So again, this is starting with the front end. This is starting with the service advisors to really kind of put this down and make this happen, right? And also, right, we want to focus on results. This isn't just a challenge to say we did it, right? We want to know metrics. We want to track metrics, like, again, push each other. But this is going to require a lot of focus, and you really pairing, if you're doing dispatch, pairing the right vehicles with the right technicians at the right time, constantly going back there, looking for nooks and crannies to squeeze another car in for a diagnostic, an oil service, a digital vehicle inspection, whatever it may be. Again, you're going to have to be on it. But again, focus on results, right? So again, we've got the team aligned. You guys are crushing the challenge. Again, visualize this. Visualizing this is massive. Not just saying to yourself, I don't know if I can do this. You have to want to do it. You have to visualize what this is going to look like and plot it out in your head. It's a strategy, right? But again, you've got the team aligned. You guys are crushing the challenge. But now how do we measure the results? Track everything like you normally would. You're just adding a lot more to the mix. At the end of the 2 weeks, how many cars did you guys take in? How did the workflow go? Were there any roadblocks that you didn't anticipate? And how did your team respond under pressure? That is where you find out where the greatness is, right? We're not looking to break people here. We're not looking to make people upset, you service advisors and the back technicians, coworkers, whatever. Again, this is to get the best out of everybody. I feel that everybody's always got more to give, another at least 20, 25%. Really come in motivated, just get down to business and let's do it, right? So this is about creating a winning week that extends into winning months and ultimately winning years. Could you imagine if you did this for 2 weeks and the results were massive? It's going to be a massive success, or it's going to be a learning lesson, not a failure. You're not going to fail at doing this. You're going to learn something by doing this. And by learning, you're growing. That's how this works, right? I mean, when you first started off as a service advisor, did you know everything? No. Do you still know everything? No. How do you learn? You make mistakes. You have to try different things. So I implore you, take on this challenge. Again, 2-week challenge starting Monday, August 4th. The phone rings and it's a service that you offer. It's a vehicle that you work on. The answer is yes. Take it in and figure it out, but come up with a strategy. If there's no strategy, it's not going to work. Again, come up with a strategy and just do it. Just do it, right? But again, this is setting you up for winning weeks that extend into winning months and ultimately winning years. The more you embrace this challenge, the better you'll get at managing the pressure and finding solutions. Again, there may be things that you're not aware of yet that your team hasn't encountered by taking on this type of challenge. And maybe you guys are just a well-oiled machine and you're like, hey, Mike D, we got this. We'll figure this out. Or you might be going, man, I don't know. The people that are just, I don't know about this, those are the ones that need to take this on. The ones that think that they just got it, take it on. See what happens. Again, you're not going to lose. You're going to win, or you're going to win and you're going to learn some things along the way. So again, you embrace the challenge, no excuses. Ladies and gentlemen, you're leveling up one drop off at a time. So what do you say? I can't hear you. Yes, that's right. The phone's ringing. Yes, let's do this. All right. Service Advisor Nation, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the AutoFix Advisor Cast. I'm pumped up about the Service Advisor Challenge that I'm throwing out there, and I'd love to hear some results. I really would at the end of 2 weeks how this went for you guys. And again, I promise you, take it on. You're not going to lose. You're going to win. You're going to win big, or you're going to win and you're going to learn some lessons along the way. But it's going to promote team growth. It's going to get you motivated, and it's going to show you what you guys can really do as a team, right? And cram every bit of efficiency. Again, just go back there and play Tetris in your head when you're looking at back at the shop, right? Where can you fit in the next piece to the puzzle? Again, that puzzle's coming down. Tetris, right? I think everybody's probably played the game Tetris, maybe heard of the game Tetris. As the pieces are falling, you have to kind of move them so they fill the spot before that wall builds up and game is over. So again, look at it as playing a game of Tetris, right? You're trying to get all those moving pieces fit into the proper spots. And again, it's going to require some strategy, but I know you got this. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about this and how it goes. And again, remember, you're leveling up one drop off at a time. Service Advisor Nation, love you guys. And thank you for tuning into another episode of the AutoFix Advisor Cast. All right. Stay healthy. Take care of one another. Go get it. All right, guys.